Hello, Eagle family. Joseph Swanson joined here by head track and field coach Kate Goupee and associate head coach Frank Fazzino. Welcome, coaches.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So, Coach, 9th year now with the program. Does it feel like you've been here this long?
No, it feels like it's been a pretty short go of it.
Okay. And then Frank, 5th year now with the program. How have you seen it grow since you arrived?
So I was here when we had our freshmen are now our 5th year seniors. So it's kind of interesting to see how they've progressed and how they've become leaders over the years and really changed kind of the atmosphere of the team, basically.
Okay. And then, Coach, track and field is one of those that, unlike a lot of other sports, you don't get a big break. So you're coming off your outdoor or your indoor season. You were just at New England this past weekend. Now you're getting ready to go down south and compete in outdoor. But talk about how that can either hurt or help your runners, that they don't have that big break, so they're heading right into the next season.
I think we as a coaching staff have to be cognizant of providing break and recovery for them. On the flip side, a lot of our athletes are go, go, go athletes, and they enjoy the dynamic changes from the season to season. So each one of them is their own independent. So when you go from one to the next, there's excitement in the new events that could be offered in the next season, and I think that's where a lot of our athletes are, thankfully. But yeah, you gotta take a lot of proactive with the training to make sure they are rested and recovered for the next set of meets.
Okay. And then I'll ask you a similar question. How do you think it impacts your athletes as well?
Well, I think as a coaching staff, we do make sure that they're taking lighter weeks as a precautionary thing to just avoid injury and things like that. So as you're writing a year-long program, you're looking at certain weeks you need to scale back and certain weeks you can kind of rev it up a little bit. With so many seasons back to back to back, especially if you're a cross-country runner, making sure that they do have breaks. And over the past few seasons, you look at, okay, this person's not competing in this meet or taking this meet off, just to kind of make sure everybody is well rested and able to finish out the season completely.
Okay. And then I mentioned it a few seconds ago, but your spring trip, getting ready to head down south. So what's that going to be like for your athletes? You've been cooped up indoors. A lot of people that don't know about Maine, it's very hard to get outside during these months and actually get some work in. So the majority of your stuff is either here in the gym or up at UNMO. So what's that going to mean to your athletes being able to go down and actually get out in good weather and compete?
It's an exciting opportunity for them, and they get to do it so early in the season. It gives them a good barometer of where they are, so we know what we need to work on in the coming weeks for the conference meet. And the fact that we can be on a track for like 4 straight days for practice is huge, and we actually have to almost limit and really strategize how we're going to do that, because our athletes are not used to jumping or throwing or sprinting on a track for multiple days in a row. But in general, they just enjoy having access to that kind of facility. And then, of course, it's a educational trip in many ways, and all the other activities that we can provide for them during the trip, not just the competitions and practice.
Right. And then what are you excited about for this trip heading down south?
Well, I'll take the weather every time. I know some of them are a little concerned it might be too hot, especially if you're running out in this weather now and then having to do complete opposite of 85 or 90 degrees. Can really take its toll on the body a lot quicker than most people think. But just to get the opportunity to, 1, have a little bit better weather, and 2, having the facilities for that many days in a row. Some of them, this might be the best weather they see all year, but I'm actually okay with that, because you give us a bad weather day and we're okay, we're ready to fight that day. So I'm glad we're able to go through the harsh weather as well.
And I'll ask this next question for both of you. What are you most excited about for this upcoming season?
I'll let Frank go first.
I mean, for me, you look at it at 2 different ways. I think individually, you want to see some great performances from the athletes. We usually like to do a lot of goal setting with them and seeing where they're at and what they would like to accomplish. And it's a back and forth between the athlete and the coach of, okay, this is what I think we can do, or let's try to push our boundaries a little more with that and see where we can get to. And then on the other side, team goals. I think winning the conference is always a big goal for us, so hopefully like to see that and see what we can do postseason as well.
We're getting to compete. that's the excitement. You know, we spent 2020, our season got cut short. We were at spring break, came back to absolutely nothing. Last year we got 2 or 3 meets in, and that was it. And there was no conference championship for us, unlike baseball and softball. So for us, the fact that we can get in a full season, we can travel, we can compete, our seniors, our super seniors can finish out their careers. That's what I'm excited about.
Okay. And then lastly, how will you define success this year?
Getting a full season in without meet cancellations. I think that's a lot of that is individually based. Are the athletes at the end of the day, are they meeting their goals? Are they excited about their progress, the program? Yes, they are, then we've been successful. If along that way, we as a team are able to achieve material victories or a conference championship, then obviously that's successful, but it's really, are we providing the experience and the kind of venue for improvement and progression for our athletes? If we are, then we're being successful.
And going off script a little bit here, you talk about that progression. Do you think that having the indoor season, unlike a lot of sports, like if you talk about other spring sports, they have a year to wait before they get to see that progression? Do you think that having that indoor season and seeing the progression and then knowing where they were during indoor helps going into outdoor?
It helps us as a coaching staff. We've already started strategizing what we need to do for outdoor based on what we're seeing during the indoor season. Definitely helps us from a planning perspective. For the athletes, I think it gives them kind of a holistic approach or view, and also we can work with them as you've got time. If you're not where you think you need to be in December, it's okay. We can get you there by April. Right. And I think for a lot of athletes, they need that, and they appreciate that there can be a lot of work done in the interim, and they've got time to get it done. It's not this massive rush you have to do something within a 2 months time period.
Yeah, I think for the athlete, speaking more from the field event side, if you're doing the same exact field event over and over again, a lot of it is maybe indoor, kind of working with the speed of things, kind of getting your footing down and kind of working through the conditioning aspect of it. By the time you get to spring, it's such a short season that by the end of it, now you're just kind of fine-tuning everything. Right. You get to see your base, and then, okay, now everything's kind of put together. Let's see how I can finish my outdoor season. Okay.
Well, that's all I've got for questions. Is there anything else the two of you would like to add?
No.
Well, I'd like to thank you for being here today with me. The Eagles open up March 5th at Savannah State.